What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Billy Goat channel. It's the new year's 2026. Hope everybody's doing good out there. In today's video, I wanted to do some more book reviews. These are books that I read last year, basically the rest of the books that I haven't reviewed so far. I've been enjoying doing these reviews, but I think moving forward, I'm going to do one book at a time. A lot of my videos, they don't get very many views, in the grand scheme of things. My most viewed videos are usually my sketchbook tour videos, but the last book review video I did got like 2 views. And I mean, there was a bunch of other stuff in that video where I tried to go to this nature park and it didn't work out and everything. But I think one of the problems is that if you look at the video, you can't really tell what books I'm actually reviewing because I'm reviewing like 4 of them at a time and I'm not really saying which book it is in the title. So if maybe people wanted to look at a particular book that they were interested in, they wouldn't even know which book I was reviewing. So I think going forward, I'm going to just do one book at a time, and that way I can have it in the title, like Before the Dawn, this is what I'm reviewing, and it'll make it easier for me because I won't have to edit like a 30-minute video. I can just, maybe talk about the book for 3 to 5 minutes and then be able to post the videos a little more quickly. So that's what I'm planning on doing moving forward. But in this video, I just want to review these really quickly, kind of do a rapid fire type thing just to get them out of the way. 2025 was actually a really good year for reading. I didn't hit the goal that I set. I was trying to hit like 24 books. And if I look at my book log here, I read 14 books. So I was 10 off. But compared to recent years, this was the best year for reading since 2016. So not too shabby. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the reviews. The first book is Before the Dawn by Nicholas Wade. And this book is basically about the development of humans way back, tens of thousands of years ago, and how people began to develop language. Like, they have one called Proto-Indo-European that basically was like the mother language that spread and developed into all the different languages, at least in Europe. Obviously in Africa, they had their own set of languages, and in Asia and different areas. He talks about how these groups of humans developed and how they migrated. A lot of it I kind of already knew or I had read before, so it wasn't a totally fresh read for me, but I thought it was pretty interesting, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. If you're interested in things like, human origins and how we evolved over, the millennia and everything, it's an interesting read, but not like the best book that I've read on the topic, I think. I read An Ancestor's Tale by Richard Dawkins, and I thought that one was actually more interesting because it traces, if you think about your great-grandfather, right? Well, what about your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather? And if you keep going back and back further and further, eventually you get to something that looks like a chimpanzee. And if you go further back, your great, to the 1000th power great-grandfather was basically like some type of lizard type animal. It's just crazy to think that if you go back far enough, eventually you're like an amoeba or, Yeah, so I gave this one 3 stars. The next one is Paris Trout by Pete Dexter, National Book Award winner. And I believe, when did this one come out? Okay, so this came out in 1988. I've read a lot of books like this that are kind of racially motivated crimes. Something like Greg Iles's Natchez Burning trilogy comes to mind. Things dealing with kind of Jim Crow era in the Deep South and stuff like that. And basically, this is about a rich white guy in Georgia who there's this black kid that bought a car from him and missed a payment or something. So the white guy goes to the kid's house looking for him to get his money and ends up killing this young girl. I think it was his sister. And so the book is about basically this attorney that gets hired to represent the accused killer and how the justice system is just so warped in favor of this guy. What do you want, cat? My cat wants to be in the video. Hey, stop. Move it. Come here. Look at this chunker. Bye. Bye-bye. Don't come over here. So it's very clear that the white guy is guilty, right? He barges into the house with his cronies and basically just starts shooting. But the whole legal system and his kind of status in the town basically allows him to skirt past and get away with it. The majority of the book is just the reaction of all these different people to this situation as it unfolds, and things just spiral out of control, basically. So yeah, it was a good book. I gave this one 4 stars. It was good, but not something that was like mind-blowing, because I feel like I've read books like this before. But the characters were really good, especially the attorney, who he's representing this guy, and slowly over the course of the book he's realizing, like, man, the murderer is like really off his rocker, like this guy needs to be put away. But he's conflicted because his job is to be the defense attorney. Anyway, so yeah, 4 stars for Paris Trout. Next, we have The Yellow Birds by Kevin Powers, another National Book Award finalist. And this one, it's a very intimate kind of war story that takes place during the Iraq War. And this guy, Kevin Powers, is actually a veteran, so you can tell it comes from a place of, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. He's lived through these things. This is a fictional story. It's not like a memoir or anything like that, but it does take place, in a military operation that actually took place. It's about 2 young Army recruits, and one of the recruits promises the mother of his friend that he met during basic training, he promises her, yeah, I'm gonna bring your son back, nothing's gonna happen. And obviously something happens, and it was a really sad story, really beautifully written, kind of poetic in a way that I didn't expect out of like a war story. I was kind of expecting something, a little more straightforward, but it's written really, really beautifully. So yeah, 5 stars for this one. And it's real short. If you wanted to, you could easily finish this in a day, but it's just so powerful what happens, and it's kind of like captures just the pointlessness of war and the effects that it has on the people that are involved in it. So 5 stars for The Yellow Birds. Next on the list, my book of the year, The Deluge by Stephen Markley. This one, I can't recommend enough. If you've read things like The Stand by Stephen King, first of all, this is a huge, huge book. It's 880 pages. And this is a novel that spans from like the year 2015 to the year 2040, and it deals with climate change. It has a wide cast of characters, everyone from eco-terrorists to climate activists, politicians. There's a couple people that are just regular, down on their luck, civilians. basically they're all being affected by the climate crisis in different ways, and some of them are part of the system trying to keep the fossil fuel industry going. Other people are, trying to get reform and change because there's just all these climate catastrophes keep happening. There's a crazy sequence where like all of Los Angeles is on fire, and this father has to go in and try to save his daughter who isn't answering her phone. So he like goes into the wildfire and he's going through the streets. And what makes it so crazy to read is it's like, this is stuff that's happening. Like every day you can read about a typhoon in Bangladesh or a wildfire in Oregon, or it's so plausible. And also there's a political side to this that was really fascinating, where a 20-year stretch of time, so it's multiple different presidential administrations that are dealing with the crisis, and basically they're not really dealing with it at all. And the pressure is just building and building from the public with protests and civil unrest, trying to get them to do anything to avert the situation. And so, yeah, I can't recommend this book enough. It was one of those books, kind of like, I mentioned The Stand. Stephen King writes these types of books really well, just these huge books that are, 800 or more pages, but you just fly through it because it's so thrilling and you want to know what happens next. 5 stars for this one. If I could give it 6 stars, I probably would. This is only Stephen Markley's second novel. I actually just bought his first novel, which is called Ohio, and I want to read that one sometime soon. So yeah, this is highly recommended. My book of the year, The Deluge. And finally, we have Musicophilia, Tales of Music in the Brain by Oliver Sacks. After I finished The Deluge, I didn't know what to read because I was looking at all my books and I was like, no, that's going to be too dramatic. I can't handle that. This is going to be too heavy. And I was trying to find kind of something light that I could just breeze through. And so I found this book on the shelf, and it's basically just this guy, Oliver Sacks. I believe he was like a doctor or a psychologist, something like that, but he's writing basically about all these cases he's seen with people who have different music-related, I don't want to say like mental issues. Like, for example, he talks about people who have absolute pitch. They can hear any note and tell you immediately what note it is. Like, oh, that's a D flat, that's an A. And, most people, it's extremely rare. Most people, they might have relative pitch, where if you give them a note and then another note, they can tell you what the interval is. But he just covers all these different kind of phenomena with music in the brain. He talks about how it helps people with dementia. If you play them music like from their youth, it helps with their cognitive abilities and everything. So it's really fascinating. He has like a very conversational, kind of very readable style. So I gave this one 4 stars. I'm actually only like halfway through it, but I did start it last year, and I'm fairly confident about the score. So I just wanted to go ahead and review this one. I'm just trying to get through it because if you're a reader, you know how you always tell yourself you have enough books, and then you go and like just buy 5 more. And actually my dad, he gave me 2 big boxes of books that he didn't want anymore. So now I have all those that I gotta go through. But anyway, so that's my reviews. And like I said, moving forward, I'm gonna be doing single reviews and hopefully be able to strike a better balance of just getting the videos out quicker, and also maybe going slightly more in depth on particular books that I really like. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there, and I'll see you in the next one.